Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house for another great session on crypto and PulseChain. And this is going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have fun. We're going to do some more trading indicators. We're going to do a refresher, actually, of what we have done before, but add in one new little indicator. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're also going to get into all the latest news, the stock market, NVIDIA results, which making tomorrow's market look possibly very bullish. And then, of course, we're going to get into PulseChain results and see how it's going on. We've got some really nice performance today. Nexion, I'm glad to see Nexion on the leaderboard. Nexion doing pretty well with Neon. And, of course, we know the huge Glow project, protocol, I should say, is coming online soon. So we're going to talk a bit about that. Glow. It's going to be something people are going to be talking about there from developer, founder, Psycho. Doing a great job there. Psycho. And, of course, we're also going to be talking about printer tokens dominating today on PulseChain. So the old OG Web Chef. Those are all back on the menu. And, of course, also we're going to talk about OG Teddy Bear there from James Maria. Also doing pretty well as top tier. So that and more is coming up. And we've got some news as well. Some really good news. Now, I've got a lot of really good intel. I'm not telling it in this video. That's pretty much it. I know it's terrible, but it's just it's so good that I want to put it in a different format. Does it make sense? It's so good that I want to put a different format. But maybe I'll drop some later on. Who wants to be that guy, right? Who wants to be that guy? Now, I do want to say a special welcome to we've had 2 new Strategy Club members to Strategy Club. So a big shout out to them, and one of them's in the chat, I think. But a big shout out to them. Welcome to the Strategy Club. So very, very cool. Now, if you want to join the Strategy Club, the link is in the video description. Coming up, actually, we've got the monthly reports coming up for the end of May, June. I guess it's the June report. So it's coming up on the this weekend for the June. We've also got a special strategy session in the Strategy Club 2 hours after my show on Saturday, which will be Friday. Friday, I think it's 11 p.m. Eastern or 10 p.m. Eastern, one of those two. Let me double check, actually, because I've got to be accurate about these things. So let me have a look here. We got, it's going to be 10 p.m. Eastern. It will be for 10 p.m. Eastern on Friday, but it will be 2 p.m. in New Zealand time on Saturday, which is, I think, 12 o'clock in midday in Australia. So it's kind of it. You got to keep up with these time frames, right? These time differences. So that's kind of it. And we got Sean O'Malley in the house there. Let's a pump, please. Absolutely. We're after that, Sean. And, of course, the DG and Hex in the house there. 5555. That number is very familiar to me. What is that number? Let me know in the chat if you guys know what that number is, because I may have forgotten. We got Goo God in the house there. Good morning to the kingdom. King is crushing it, doing an amazing job. What's it, King Jr.? Crown token. Goo God there is doing a fantastic job. So big shout out there, Goo God. We do notice. So very, very nice there. Hexavator in house there. Hey. Like, answer, and share. Like and share. Yeah, I like that. Like and share. Appreciate that, Hexavator. Big shout out to you. We got Brian, one of our 2 community leaders in the house. What's up, folks? Hey, Brian, hope you're doing well. He's a brother from another mother. That's the old Brian there, brother from another mother. And, of course, he's up with another brother of his own mother. Does that make sense? All right. So that's kind of cool. Good to see Brian in the house there today. The good old days of 5555. That's right. I've got to say it slowly because I used to go 5555 or something like that. So it was pretty funny. All right. So, that's still haven't got people in the chat there. No one knows what the 5555 means. I know you guys know what it is. Also, last halving, lol, says DGN. That's true. All right. So, Hex Hogs in the house there. Woo! Getting excited as well. Big welcome. Now, if you're new to the chat, don't forget to say, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell as well. Now, I was going to make a comment, but I'm going to leave that, actually. It's better. Now, don't forget to repost the show. Let's do that first, shall we? Because, last time I forgot about it, and it's a good idea to get it out there. You guys help with the algorithm, right? So that's the key thing, right? You guys help with the algorithm. So definitely get out there and share the show. That's all we can say. Share the show on X. Now, if you're on YouTube, then you know what to do. You just hit the share button and do that. So that'd be really cool. Hit the share. Sharing is caring. And of course, the more people, the better that we do in the algorithm. As you know, the Pulse, particularly if you're in the PulseChain community, or if you're in Titanx or whatever you're in, or if you're in both, it helps with the algorithm, right? And it gets the things out, and new people come in, right? And that's kind of cool. And you guys know I do a pretty comprehensive show, right? So it's kind of educational. It's kind of covers all the markets. So we go stock market, we do crypto market, and then we do PulseChain, we do Titanx. We're going to be doing X1 chain when that launches. It's going to be really, really cool content. And it's going to be bull market, man. It's going to be where the insane gains happen, the insanity of the mad gains. We can't wait for that, can we? All right, so kind of cool. Share the show. Brian says, what's the new flag in the chat? I don't know. Is there a new flag? What is that? Oh, that is new. Holy heck and Doogie Howser. What is that? What is that? Is that something new from YouTube? I didn't even see that, Brian. Thank you for highlighting that. What they got little crowns in 1 and 3. What on earth is that? I do not know. Maybe there's an update on the YouTube. Some people don't have it. So some people, it's a lot of it looks like regular names, people that have been around for a while. Maybe they're all subscribers to the channel. Maybe that's but they got little crowns and little 1 and 3. So like Hedgehog's got a 3, DJ Hexagon's got a 1, and Brian, you got a 2. But I know that Brian's like one of the top 3 to 5 members of the channel. So that's interesting. I don't know what that is. That's pretty cool. I have to find out after the live stream. DJ Hexagons gets XP when comment. Okay, cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, I did not know. I didn't even see that update. I've been so much in crypto and not thinking so much about the YouTube. Gets XP when comment. Okay, well, that's kind of cool. I like that. All right, so comment away, guys, and get some more XP. I'm going to find out exactly what I can do with that XP. Maybe we can do some prizes and things. So that's kind of neat. YouTube has missed so many low-hanging fruit on YouTube. I mean, there's so much stuff they could do, and they don't do it. It's crazy. I don't know what they do at the HQ. Or they do. You know what they do at the HQ? They probably work for about an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon, and then in times they're either sliding down some slides, or they're in the cafeteria, or they're out on the swings. Have you seen those campuses for like Apple and stuff like that? They're just like so luxury. That's just like, why would you even do anything else, right? I'm going to do a coding for an hour, and we'll use a little whiteboard. You know how they go on the whiteboard, do their little coding. Let's do the code. Let's get together, guys. We'll do the little coding. And it's 11 o'clock. Let's go. We got our 3-hour lunch. We're going to go to the slides and stuff like that. It's probably like that, right? It's like Willy Wonka. Like Willy Wonka, but there's no Willy. I guess there's a Willy Wonka there, but no chocolate. Well, they probably got tons of chocolate, actually, probably filthy rich chocolate. I switched to live chat and it disappeared, says Brian. Oh, really? Okay. It did. Okay, let me go to live chat. I got top chat, haven't I? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, community. I changed it, guys. This is all new, so this is kind of cool. Sorry, we're digressing a little bit. But I changed it to live board, and then it's got DJ Hexagon number 1, Brian number 2, Excavator at number 3, and then Hedgehog following number 4. And it's actually got the points. So DJ Hexagon's got 75 XP points. Brian's got 75 as well. I guess maybe DJ Hexagon came in first. Maybe that's why. And then you got Excavator at 25 XP, and then Hedgehog at 25. That's really interesting. Okay, oh, well, we'll have a look at that. In fact, that's disappeared now as well. Oh, no, that's kind of weird. All right, that's cool. A little divergence there. Something unexpected on the YouTube chat. Maybe, I don't know how long it's been around. Maybe it's been around for like 6 years. I don't know. No, probably not. But number 1, says DJ, and you are number 1 there. Now, Brian will be competing, though. He'll quickly try to get number 1 off you. Don't you worry about that much. Wouldn't that incentivize spamming the chat? Possibly. That's true, Brian. We'll have to have a look at it anyway afterwards. But anyway, let's get on to the show. And let me just quickly scroll through some of my thread here to see whether I've got anything on my thread that I put on X that's particularly of interest there. No, I think we don't have anything there. So anyway, if you're not following on X, don't forget to follow me on X. You know I'm rebuilding because my last account, which was quite decent size, was taken down for no good reason. That's what it's like on social media. It's not all fun and games. Sometimes, and they don't even let you appeal. No one communicates. There's no communication. So all you can do is rebuild and hope for the best. That's it. Rebuild and hope for the best. That's kind of the PulseChain spirit, right? Rebuild and hope for the best. There we go. All right, let's get into the news on the stock market. And we've got NVIDIA Q1 results. No, we're too early on that. We're too early. We're supposed to be. I'm a bit early on this one. It's supposed to be. Let me see if I can get back to the other results. Yeah. I want to get to the share market here. So let's do the share market, stock market. That's the one I want to do first. So stock market, S&P 500 falls on US China trade deal. Now remember, we're doing Wednesday's results in the United States. It's Thursday here in New Zealand, but here we are. We're doing Wednesday's results. We got the Dow Jones is down 0.6%, 245 points to 42,100. We got the S&P 500 down over 0.5%, 33 points to 5,888. And then finally, we got the Nasdaq down 0.5% at 98 points, down to 9,100. So we had a bit of a shave off in value, not too much, 0.5% or so. The US dollar is back over 100, of course, up 0.5% at 100.28. So US dollar stronger versus the trading partners, and it's been battling around this 100 mark. Remember Trump, when he first got in with the FOMO, the market, this US dollar went super strong to 108, and then it's recently been, about 98. So, when the dollar's stronger, it means, Americans' consuming power is more stronger. When it's weaker, obviously, exports get more competitive, but it's more expensive for people to buy stuff. So imported inflationary type of pressures. But it's been marked around the 100. So I think it's probably there's two arguments. A depreciated dollar and a stronger dollar. I think that it's going to be, if you're going to have the golden age of America, it's just inevitable. It's going to become stronger, right? So it's going to be pretty interesting. All right, so that would arguably tamper down silver to some degree, but I think it's going to be so much FOMO that all the commodity prices are probably going to have a big rally. We got crude oil is at $62 and Brent oil is $65. Both of them up slightly today, but that's one area that Trump's absolutely done amazing with. Get down over $20-$25 in oil, and fantastic course affects the whole of the physical markets, and we're just waiting for the interest rate cut, which we're going to talk about briefly here, because that's kind of being held up. Gold at the moment, $3,284 is down 1.1%. Silver is at $33, and that has not really broken out. I mean, it's definitely gone up like 10-20%, but not really had that big breakout that people were talking about, up to $75, for example. Not quite happened there yet. That's good old rich dad, poor dad, right? Because I guess we haven't had enough of an interest rate exchange rate pivot. But I think actually it's probably going to be just the golden age of America that's going to drive those commodity values. So we'll keep a look up for that. Trump orders U.S. chip designers to stop selling to China. So another move there. Stop selling to China there. There's a big fight in the world around semiconductors and chip makers. As you guys know, a lot of the machines are often made in the United States and I think Netherlands is where they make the specialized machines. One of probably the most complicated machines in the world. Pretty close to it, making the makers of chips, and so a bit of a battle there. No, but of course China controls most of the rare earths in the world, which is a lot of stuff you need for making that technology. So it's going to be interesting. Remember last time they tried to stop Japan from getting rare earths, and then of course Japan just went around other countries and that sort of fell apart. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. But after the news, we got some really bullish results for NVIDIA, and so that's pushed all the market up. So the futures market is actually up green. So we were down today, but the futures market is up, over 0.5%, almost. Let's see, go back to the futures on indices. Sorry, is over 1.4% on the 500. So it's indicating if it holds up, it means that Thursday's markets could be quite bullish, given NVIDIA, is one, the leader of the Magnificent Seven, and pushing up the stock market there with a great result. So kind of cool. That is NVIDIA. And of course, we've got a little story on that, so we're going to go to that quickly. NVIDIA there, Q1 results top estimates, but 8 billion hit from US China chip ban hits guidance. So that's kind of the play there at the moment, but good results. Global demand for NVIDIA's AI infrastructure is incredibly strong. AI inference token generation has surged tenfold in just 1 year. So a lot of people are using their AI services. And as AI agents become mainstream, the demand for AI computing will accelerate. Countries around the world are recognizing AI as essential infrastructure, just like electricity and internet, and NVIDIA stands at the center of this profound transformation. So you guys know one of the big deals here is that some people are going for jobs, and they're going to companies that are adopting AI big time. And the management's starting to say now, well, you can only hire people You can only increase your staff if you can't do it with AI. If you can't do it with AI, so it's the employment place is going to change a lot, particularly for corporate jobs. It's going to change a lot, and then of course we know that that's white collar jobs, and then blue collar jobs going to change for a different reason. Manufacturing and other things like that are going to be replaceable with a lot of automated robots and stuff like that. So there's a whole variety of those. You can go out and look at those. So definitely we are finally here. Now, I tell you what, they used to say this back when I was in high school, back in the 80s, and the best decade outside the 50s, I would say. So the 80s, and they used to say, oh, robots are going to take our jobs. Never happened. Never happened, right? So that was back in the 80s, but it is happening now. So they just got it wrong. They thought that it might happen in like 10, 20, 15 years, as I said, back in the 80s, because it's taken much longer than that. So, what's it taken? 40 years, 40 years instead of 10 to 15. So there we are. Sometimes things take a lot longer than when the so-called futurists say it's going to happen. But we are actually upon it now, aren't we? We're actually upon it. We got the right computer power. We got the right energy boom happening, and of course, particularly around lithium, or lithium cobalt batteries and things like that. And then, of course, we've also got, which is still going to be one of the big issues, right, is the power side of it. But we've got that happening. We've got obviously the computing power is pretty outstanding. We got down to down to the quantum, right? Down to, I think the chips got down to about 7 nanometers, something like that. So 1 nanometer being like an atom, and so they got down pretty small. But then they faced the issues of quantum physics, right? And then they had to start innovating. Then they started layering chips and all sorts of stuff. And now they've got even, now they're trying to move into, quantum chips as well. So moving away from binary into quantum, cat in a box type of stuff. So it's been pretty interesting evolution there. And of course, Moore's law, if you guys are familiar with that, everything basically doubling every 2 years or year, depending on what you look at, who you're reading, but typically every year. It really faced it up with the quantum physics there. So it's exciting times though. And now what we're seeing with all that technology, convergence, right? Robotics, AI, power sources, and software, and we're getting that all converging into one pretty much. And we really are in that age right now. So I think within 3 to 5 years, man, there's going to be crazy things walking around the streets. We're going to have, humanoid robots walking around. It's going to be crazy. Next year, we're going to probably see at the end of the year, maybe the beginning of 27, but possibly at the end of the next year. Let me see if they go September, October to December. We may see maybe by January, something like that, January 27, we may see Optimus robots land on Mars. Can you believe it, on the Starship? That could be happening. Imagine that. That's like basically, Star Trek happening for real kind of thing. So that is going to be really weird. It's going to be weird. It's cool, but it's going to be weird when people actually see it. I think it's going to be pretty crazy. Brian says the 80s rock, just saying. They certainly did. They are crazy things walking around the streets now, boss, says Brian. Yeah, well, it takes a little while for it to get to places like New Zealand. We do have our own rocket ships. We got Rocket Lab, which dominates the small CubeSat market. And they're also in the US and California. Been bought out pretty much by the Americans. But that was we've got our own rockets that take off here. They're much smaller than the SpaceX, but they're also moving into medium-sized rockets as well, probably for going to the moon and stuff like that. So we shall see where that all heads. I mean, go to any blue city, it's scary. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Well, we're going to see these around, and it's going to be pretty crazy. Some of them are quite weird looking as well. If you watch some of the Star Wars movies, some of them look like some of those robots out of there. So it's just the way it goes. All right, enough of that. So that is kind of where we are at the moment. But the company took a 4.5 billion hit from the ban, which was less than previously estimated at 5.5. And of course, $1.4 billion, pretty big hit there. But anyway, it's looking pretty good. They're forecasting second quarter revenue of 45 billion. And of course, that slightly missed projections. Missing projections of 45.66. That's their projections, of course, but that's their forecast. So we'll see how they go on there. It's going to be pretty interesting. The Wall Street analyst said the godfather of AI delivers again, with H20 China expenses charges known heading into print. The video would have delivered a gross margin of 71%. That's unbelievable, isn't it? Gross margin 71%, man. That's a high earning business. All right, so no wonder it's booming. All right, so and it's just beginning, really. It's just beginning. So what they had their Blackwell chip last year, and it's game on pretty much. Duke of Obu's is in the house there. Cheers, everybody. Drinks all around. He's bartending at the table. Big shout out to you, Duke. All right, so let's move on into the rest of the markets, and that is Go Pulse. We're going to get into PulseChain markets. No, we're not. It's too early to get into that. Let's go over to where are we going here? We're going to Bitcoin. That's where we're going first. Bitcoin markets, and I just realized I haven't got the Coinbase up, and I wanted to talk about CoinGecko. Should I drop some alpha? I don't want to talk about it too soon. And I'm going to do it because I have to do it in a certain way. I have to be very accurate with it, so I've got to be do it in the right way. But we got the Coinbase at the moment. We've got the market there, and we've got the total market cap at 3.53 trillion, down 2.9%. So the second day we've been down 3.53 trillion. And as we said yesterday, it's pretty cheap. I think Hexcavator put a number in for the gold market cap at what 22, 23 trillion. It just does depend on which website you go to, but that is probably a fairly good number to base it on. So we're still 7x from there. If you see some of the higher end numbers, depending on how they've done the resource, it could be up to 27, 30 trillion. So it's still a long way to go to converge to gold. So we've got a lot of upside for the old Bitcoin. Bitcoin at the moment, $107,650. Down 1.2%. We've got Ethereum at number 2, up 1.1%, 2,681. So Ethereum showing some nice little strength there. I like that. XRP is at $2.27, down 1.8%. Number 4. BNB is up slightly, 0.2% at $687 at number 5. Solana then followed down 2.5% at $172. Now, I did see Rick and Michelle, who I'm a big fan of, put out. He was discussing, should I put this out about meme coins and about Solana? Solana at the end of meme coins, and I was just like, well, I wouldn't put something out like that. If you wanted to get negative engagement, which is very popular, right? People do that. It might be something you do, but actually, meme coins obviously going to hyper rally just like always in the bull market. So I don't, just think it was a nonchalant kind of a post. But if you want the negative engagement, which works a lot, you can do it. We got Dogecoin there at number 8 is down 2.2%, is 22 cents. We got Cardano or ADA there is down 1.3% at 74 cents, and finally Tron in the top 10 is down 1.8% at 27 cents. So those are kind of where we're at. So just a slightly down day, except for Ethereum holding up quite nice. Best performer over the last week, yours truly, Ethereum, 4.8%. So that's a really good sign. And bring on the altcoin season, bring on the re-rate, all that good stuff. Remember, the magic carpet ride is tied to the Ethereum price. $3,775. So we've still got just over $1,000, $1,100 to go to get back up there. So bring that on. Now, top performers in the top 100. Let's have a look at those. Actually, let's go to. I can't go to that big screen because I already got a video on there. I should have gone to that. I'll try to go to the big screen for this one in the future. We got Injective, which was performing well yesterday, up 21%. Hyperliquid, which was number 1 yesterday, up 21%. So these are the ones you should be looking out for. Obviously, with the news around AI and of course NVIDIA, these are probably some natural benefits as well. Also trading, right? Trading. We've got Quant there up 19.4%, is up at $117. Virtual Protocol up 16% as well, and Jupiter up 13.8% as well at 59 cents. These are all heavyweights, right? Look at them all. There's a lot of trading AI kind of protocols in here. So artificial super intelligence up 13%. So if you're thinking about your general crypto portfolio, these are definitely some that you might want to consider having in there. Obviously, do your due diligence, all that good stuff. And of course, you can hop into Strategy Club. Links in the video description. So join up today. All right, so let's get into that. That's pretty much it. Let's look at the top gainers. We've got Affinity there up 101%, Zeus up 98%, and Central African Republic there up 41%. In fact, we might have a little look at that because it's kind of different of that there. We've got Sophon there is trending, and SPX 6900 is trending as well, and Hyperliquid is trending, and no surprise there. But let's have a look at the Central African Republic. What is this meme coin? Okay. Let's have a look here. Let's do max period. How long has it been around for? Been around since February the 10th. Price was 6.4 cents. Got dumped down to 1.4 cents. Been as low as less than a penny, so 9/10 of a penny, and has managed to climb all the way back up to 4.6 cents. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know what the safety of it is, so just take care, but it seems to be up on every time frame. Car tokens can be traded on centralized exchanges. so on. So really, it just looks like a Central African Republican meme. Okay, that's interesting. They do have a website. Let's have a quick look at that. I wasn't planning on doing this. Is all just happening. We got Central African Republican meme coin, born as a meme, built for utility, cast out as a presidential meme coin. Now we're driving the real world impact, backed by the spirit of decentralization support there. You can buy current exchanges, blah blah blah. So that's it. That's it. There's not a lot there. Not a lot there. I'm gonna make a comment about this, but I didn't say it. I didn't say it. You guys can make the comment yourself. We got chosen by God announced that. Thank you for doing this, love man. Yeah, most welcome there. Big shout out to you. All right, yeah. I was gonna make it. Anyway, so here we are at the marks. Let's jump away. We're gonna come. Should we come back? I'll leave that there. Actually, we'll come back to it. But let's actually have a look at Bitcoin on the chart. And here we are. We are going through the period. We're still waiting for some trade deals. Obviously, they can take a few days and weeks. And here we are with Trump's three-legged stool strategy. So we've got the trade deal pushing through. That's going pretty well, obviously through the Senate. And we've also got, what else got there? Big tax bill. Big tax bill there at the moment. That is, sorry, what was I trying to say? Trade deals. So trade deals are being negotiated. We're waiting for the big ones like India, Japan, South Korea. Those are probably the easier ones. India might be a little sticky, but they're generally easier. And then we're waiting for, obviously, the European Union's got a bit of a trade tactic going on with the Europeans at the moment. And of course, we've also, still got some stuff happening with China. So we'll see. We'll see how they all land. But other than that, I think we're going to get quite a lot of low-hanging fruit, and that's going to be very bullish in this period here leading up to the 4th of July, which is when Trump wants basically his three-legged stool strategy in place, right, for the golden age of America. So that's kind of the play. So we're actually in a very, very, I would argue, bullish environment right now. But it also means that we're also a bit sensitive as well, with some of these tactics still playing out, right? So that's about 35 days, well, actually a bit longer than that, 36 days to go. The other thing, of course, we've got the big tax bill. That's huge. That will do the tax extensions, right? There are no taxes on tips and all that sort of stuff. Now, we don't really have tips here. There's a few places that I think have tip culture, but we don't really have a tip culture here. But in the United States, as I understand it, it's actually a big part of someone's wage. Like if you're a waitress or doing retail or something, understand tipping's a pretty big part of the wage. Let me know in the chat there how much that might be, because I'm not in America. I don't live there, and I only watch the movies, etc. You know how it works. Big tax bill there. Now, the other thing called deregulation leverage, that's still playing out. That's going to take a little longer. It's going to be like phased approach, but essentially a lot of that's going to be in place by July. For crypto, of course, we're going to get even more stuff coming, being dripped out over probably the first 12 to 18 months of Trump's presidency. So we're going to expecting more stuff in September. They got a big report coming for digital strategy in September. So that's going to just take a little bit longer to play out, specifically to crypto. But actually, it's pretty bullish. Trump gets his three-legged stool strategy in place by the 4th of July. Remember, he's already got over like $13 trillion of investment. He did that within 120 days, which is astounding. It's astounding. Think of it, 13 trillion, 14 trillion versus the US GDP, which is 27 trillion. So it's just remarkable numbers. All right, so that's kind of where we are there. And then, of course, we may have some really cool stuff here. Obviously, the 90-day extension goes through to about 10th of July, but I don't think that's really going to be a big deal there. Really, it's about the 4th of July, and having a big party could happen on the Monday, right? So on the Monday the 7th, we might see a big party where Trump says, we've laid the foundation. There's three-legged stool strategies in place largely, and it's golden age of America on there. So that's the time frame we are on at the moment. Brian says, if you get tips, they can pay you less than minimum wage. If you get tips, they can pay you less. It used to be that way anyway, says Brian. Yeah. Let us know if you know much about tip industry. That'd be pretty interesting. No tax on tips. All right, so that's pretty cool. That's going to be neat. So what's Trump targeting, right? So there has been a little criticism about the spending bill, which is probably fair enough. Spending's always spending creep, right? But ultimately, the idea is to grow the U.S. economy 3-4% plus, and to get GDP, get the deficit down to about 3% of GDP. That's kind of the basic stuff there. To deal with the trade deficit, 1.2 trillion. Get rid of, deal with a lot of they will be targeting that the big debt, the 37 trillion, but I think they want to either do it through growth, which is what they're targeting, or do it through assets as well. So you think about a balance sheet with income and expenses and assets and liabilities, really they can do it with the income statement, and they can also do it with the balance sheet, trying to deal with the assets. And that's why they're going to be surveying all of America, which has never really been done, above ground, below ground, and on the oceans, and of course the Gulf of America, which I think is a great name. All right, so that's kind of cool. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment on Bitcoin, and so yeah, we've still got this golden cross playing out, and we're expecting basically consolidation here before we move up to that next target, 130 to 150 k. And that's kind of the next target there. And we've got the right sort of lay of the land for that, with a few little hiccups on the way, with the tactics, of course, that Trump has to use to get the outcome that he wants. All right, so that is on the Bitcoin. And of course, we're going to go into Go posts. Of course, day 748. So obviously, PulseChain forked on the, what day was it? The 13th of May, 2023. And of course, we've got Pulse at the moment at quadruple 0382, is actually down 6.4%. So we still have not really broken that resistance at 4,200. That is the mark that we want to beat, and we have not done it. So so far we're just being kept down. We're being kept down by the man, so to speak. And we're at 38% of the mean sacrifice price. Pulse X at the moment is at 40347, and that's down 6.5% as well, pretty similar to Pulse. And the burn there is at 1.41 trillion. We're at 7.16% of PulseX has been bought up and burned. INC $1.75, down 5.9%. And of course, the inflation's only pretty small these days, 2,600 INC a day. What else we got there? We got Hex as well. Hex as well. All right. What else there? Don't spam the chat. Don't spam the chat. Shill Day was yesterday. Do you guys remember that? We did Shill yesterday. We got the Hex at the moment, 3/4 of a penny, down 9%, and we got EHEX there at 23. Was it 23 hundredth of a penny? Combined price EX and BX has gone below 1 cent today. Unfortunately, we're at 0.0989. So let's see if we can hold on close to 1 cent. That'd be great. All right, so let's go to gas prices. 1.9 million beats, so 3 cents for a PulseX swap, not too bad. And the validators at the moment, of course, are rising. Look at that. Woo! That's a bullish sign, right? So yeah, the price can go up and down because we've got thin liquidity, but man, we're getting some of the fundamentals are all going to the upside. 50,524 is the active validator number, so that's gone up again, and we're at pushing that higher. Bridge, where's the bridge? 96 million. Now remember, we've got a lot of funds coming over to PulseChain now that are not showing up on this bridge. So this bridge, it's kind of like Bridge Plus now, right? Because now we've got like banks are coming back in a couple of weeks. We've got Ramp now, which is already bought in about $1.2 million already in like 9-10 days. I think it's 10 days. So it's things are changing. Things are changing on the PulseChain. So we can add that in. And not only are they coming over the bridge, but they're coming through Ramp now, but they're coming directly into buy tokens. Whereas some of this bridge stuff comes in, but it can just sit in a wallet like as an asset, right? It doesn't buy stuff necessarily. So, but in any case, we're sitting at 96 million. So, it's down about 600K. Well, let's say $500,000 from yesterday. $500,000 different down there. Now I'm going to get some new sites. So we're going to be doing some new coverage on different sites because there's other data I want to bring up from now on. I just have to get around to doing that, but that's coming up there as well. Now let's look at the overall market. So $28.5 million is the volume today. So pretty good, right? Not as good as yesterday, but still pretty good. Been up over 30 million quite often the last couple of days. Previously had been down at 22 million, before that down at like 12, 14 million. So this is kind of cool. We've got the 24-hour transactions of 282,000. At the moment, we've got some new tokens, and printer tokens are dominating, right? Printer tokens are dominating at the moment. So we've got 414 is up 2,117%. It's only been around 23 hours. We got the Reserve Tay. We got the FD versus Reserve Tay there. That's been around for 5 months, and that's up 50%. So, and that's also versus Tropa and Treasury. So we've got all these tokens related to James and Maria tokens going up 45%. But for Investor, of course, the grandfather of printer tokens there is up 31%. And of course, we've got Nexion there too, which I'm very happy to see. Nexion making top 10. So congratulations, Psycho, and of course Nexion. We're going to come back and talk about that in a minute. We've got BFF at the moment is at number 9 and 10. It's up 18%. And then we've got Beast, another OG WebShare printer token. That is up 13% as well. So, we're doing pretty well with the print tokens for Investor, BFF and Beast and stuff like that. Blaster is up 10%. It's been around for over a year. Surf, of course, another big community, the PulseChain. What do they got? what was it, 40, 50,000 followers or something like that, maybe even more. Maybe it's 100,000. I can't remember now. But that's a pretty big project, up 4%. So this is another sign of mass adoption, right? Where we're getting quite large communities coming over, dropping their token on the chain. So that's doing pretty well. Pulse Poppy up 6.7%. Excuse me. Number 16 is Secrecy, and that's up 5.5% as well. Sparta, of course, is up there from Wendy's for Tendies, XOG guy, up 4.8%. And then we got Remember, another OG web chef. So that's why I said the printer tokens back in the mix there. For Investor, Beast, Remember, they're all on the move there. And of course, I think we've got old Remember and new Remember there because they're both different colors. I can't remember which one's the new one. I think it's the green one. Up 4.6%. Yeah, the green one's the new one, 11 days, 16 days. The red one is the old one, 6 months. But they're all up as well. And then we've got some pump tires. Pump tires, the main coin for pump tires, is up 2%. So we haven't got a lot of big movers today. Obviously, these are kind of relatively small moves. Maybe anything over 10% is quite decent. Beast, of course. But we've got a lot of ones with little tiny percentage gains. We've got Missor as well, is up 2.8%, another OG web chef. And then we've got Teddy Bear, which I've got in the title as well. Teddy Bear there. This is from James Maria, of course, that is up as well. So some of the James Maria stuff moving. We've got this reserve Tay because it's matched with the Troper and Treasury Bill, right? And of course, XUSD is tied into Treasury Bill as well. So there's a few things on the move there at the moment. What else we got there? I think that's kind of where we are. It's basically everything in the green at the moment. And Stake ETH, we've got Stake ETH up there, and Doubt and other pump tires. So we've got 1 or 2 pump tires. We've got some of James and Maria stuff moving, and we've got the printer tokens moving. And then there's a special mention to Neon and Nexion. As you guys know, I've covered before. This is doing pretty well. Now, the big thing about this is bringing, if you guys are familiar with the GMX fork, Famous, that's done by the PH team. This is some time back now. And of course, I don't know whether I've got it on this browser, but it is Famous, which is a GMX fork, and basically you can do perpetual trading or leverage trading, and where you borrow assets and you can leverage up to 30x your value. Well, Glow is coming, and it's going to be able to do it on tokens and farms up to 10x leverage, and that's not just on Famous. You have a limited number of tokens you can do it. The stable coins or core coins, for example, depending whether you're going short or long. And but here on Neon, you're going to be able to do on Nexion with the Neon token. You're going to be able to do it on just about any token that gets put into the liquidity pool, essentially. So it's going to be a pretty big Glow token there. It's going to be pretty massive. So I think that's pretty exciting. In fact, they've got a little bit of update on that. So that is doing pretty good. A nice little rebound here on the daily. So this is the daily coin. Let's do a little bit of analysis on the first. Let's pull up the coin there. So we're currently down at 0.0001500, and it's had a nice little rally over the last 11 days, up 2.1x. So it's currently up 11 days, and it's currently at 0.003,100. So it was down 0.0001500. So it's basically gone over 2x there. So it's kind of cool, and nice to see the lift. This is kind of one of these projects that is actually should be priced much higher. So actually, it's for me, it's undervalued, and definitely it's only at $250,000 at the moment, and the dev is building out some pretty special stuff. So you got to be pretty excited about where Nexion is going with the Glow product coming. It's opening up a big market area on PulseChain, right? So it is opening up the leverage market, and of course expanding the tokens that can be taken in potentially, and lots of teams could get their projects in there, right? It is a game changer. So think of all the projects on PulseChain. They could all put their liquidity pools in here, and then people could start doing 10x leverage on it. So it's a big deal, as you can see, a very big deal indeed. So I think that's pretty exciting where that's all heading. I do have a little update here, so I'm just trying to pull this up at the moment, and specifically to the development. So let's have here, this is from Psycho himself. And Glow is getting closer, he says. I know someone on his team was testing out the multi-token rewards into the new Hollow Vault as well. Yeah, so that's not the only thing, right? So let's quickly go to the website, have a look at the site here. So this is, we want quality DeFi. We want big DeFi coming to PulseChain, and Nexion really is delivering that. They had a very good, so they basically started their distribution with an auction. A lot of people do that within a short space of time, and they distribute their tokens, and then they created a staking, of course, which are people familiar with their Hollow Vault. Well, Hollow Vault version 2 is coming, right? So this is going to be pretty exciting. So at the moment, you stake Nexion, Neon, which is the token for Nexion platform, DeFi platform, and you get rewarded in ink and Neon tokens. But one of the big things that's coming with the second version of HoloVault, which is there's two big things coming, right? HoloVault staking version 2, and then there's the Glow product, which we'll talk about quickly. And the HoloVault version 2 is going to have multiple token rewards, which I think is going to be extremely popular. So looking forward to that with the Neon. The other big thing, of course, is the Glow products. I mean, you can't actually get there, but I did a sneak peek in my previous video. So if you check out Nexion video on the channel here on YouTube particularly, you will be able to see that, right? And if you check my thread on X, you'll be able to find that too. Just type in, search for Nexion and Kryptonite Show, and you've got the Glow product that's going to be coming, and that's going to have up to 10x leverage on tokens and farms, and that's going to be wide open. So lots of teams could flood into here and find it out. So it's going to be a big area of development, and certainly, hopefully, something that we're going to be helping out with. We'll see. But this is kind of where we are here with this. So really, this is like, I love this show because we get to bring to light some of these big alpha DeFi protocols that really can make a big difference. And of course, there's a certain part of the market that likes to use leverage, right? And if you're in a bull market, that increases, right? That increases the amount of people. So I think that's pretty exciting where it's going to go. So, nice to see that Neon there is performing well here at the moment. So kind of cool, and up over 2x in 11 days. Now, looking further afield, the price was up much higher at the beginning, of course, when they had the auctions and token distributions. And of course, it's only been around for 4 months and 25 days, but it is fairly established now. And the development for the next version of Glow and HoloVault is going to be very popular, I think. Lots of collaborations there kind of coming, I'm sure, for that one. So big shout to Psycho and the team. We're looking forward to that coming to the market, and I don't think it's too far away. Like I say, they're doing testing at the moment for HoloVault version 2, and much more coming up as well. Woohoo! It's going to be pretty cool. I think they're going to possibly do some tokenomic changes as well for the taxes on here as well. So they've got a little description down the bottom here. You can check that out as well. It's got a little, and they've got limited tokens, which I like as well. 1 billion tokens. So, and they have a burn in there. So check it all out. The videos on the channel, and of course you can join the Telegram and Twitter as well. So big shout out to Nexion team, and I'm so stoked to see them trending on the top mark. That's where they should be. Very, very exciting about that. All right, let's see how that goes in the future. All right, so that is pretty much it for Nexium. Now, the other one I want to talk about quickly is Soul Sun and Meal. Sun Mini Meal. I'm getting a stutter here, because there's some big updates happening in this in the Sun Mini Meal. What pause this? Sorry, that's the wrong pull. Let me jump back in here. What's this? It was the main one there. Soil token. Soil. Where are we up here? This one here. All right, so this one here, we had a little bit of a sell-off just before the show, I guess, a couple of hours. Yeah, we had this wallet here, a new wallet, 25 million. So the one thing with Sun Mini Meal is that there are a lot of people with a lot of tokens that got it close to free, like they were part of the loyalty sort of point system, and then they got to swap it over into Soul tokens, hit the market with that. But today we had some updates today, and man, there's a lot of cool stuff happening, and a lot of stuff they're not even telling us about at the moment. The one thing I will say is that the buy and burn itself, the corporate buy and burn, will probably take a little bit of time. So because they've got to set up a foundation. So that's one thing I'd mention. And so you're always going to get a little bit of selling in here. The other thing is you can see here on the daily, we've got slightly lower high as well, 14 cents. But as you guys know, if we come up to the future here, the third, they're going to be at the Austrian World Summit, and so that's going to be that's coming up here. So that's the time frame. What we're going to see here. So it's just timing, right? It's just timing. So this here they were hoping that they'd get to $1 billion market cap by that time, right? But let's have a look at the market cap so far, and that's the market cap there at the moment. So let me put in the time frame again just to give you an idea of what this is doing. So that is the third. All right. So time frame, they were hoping to get to $1 billion, right? So $1 billion market cap was, it's a fun target more or less, I think, but it's that was where they wanted to get to here. So this is the first real big corporate on PulseChain, right? This is this is really the big juggernaut. So and the model is very clever. The model is very clever for creating value. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting where this goes. And this is where we're up at the moment. So this is the one. This is the first project that arguably could be the first $1 trillion project on PulseChain, right? And therefore, matching Bitcoin. So Soil Signum with the system could end up being in a Bitcoin. It could be valued that highly. It's going to be pretty interesting to see that. And the model is pretty clever because it's a high margin business. It's a unique business. So the product itself is, I don't know, almost impossible to replicate, one would argue. And so it's got that exclusive, and it's also the holy grail of kind of health food versus calories and weight loss. So you can do everything at once, kind of thing. And it will only suit a particular person, but a lot of people can adapt. It's going to be interesting to see. But this is early days, right? Still early days, so I can't say that enough. But on the 3rd, they're going to be at the Austrian World Summit. They're going to have a big announcement there, and there's going to be several investment bankers, at least 3 of them. And Wolfgang, the MD for this, is actually networking a lot with these guys, these big wealthy European guys that have got billions of dollars, etc. And they love this idea, right? They love this idea. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this on the 3rd. Now, obviously, we've already got some people that have got a lot of coins. So that person that sold there earlier, this one here, 25K, and we were at 12 and 3/4 cents. It sends us down to 11.77 cents. And so that's a brand new account. So how much? You see that there's no bought tokens now. This was forked only, back on was it the 3rd of May? No, 28th of April it was. And so that's going to be pretty interesting. So there's a lot of people with free tokens. So there will have to be those loose hands at the beginning. People that make quite a lot of money. So they will have to be exited that way, and that's what we're seeing in the chart, right? We saw it back here. These are people with large token supplies, and we saw it again here. All right. So there will be a bit of that. Now, the market cap, of course, has come down to 604 million as well. Now, the reason why I wanted to keep up the CoinGecko stuff here is because if you look at the market cap ranking, so if you've got the market cap down here, right? So if you've got the market caps, you can come down, you got 89 billion. So you've got lots of billions in here. And then you come all the way down in the top 100 and you keep scrolling down. Now, you can argue some of these market caps, right? Because some of them probably shouldn't be where they are because they have like fixed supply coins and stuff like that. You can see that when you get onto the top page at the moment, market cap, you're almost at $1 billion. Just get on the market cap here on CoinGecko, right? Now, you can fake market caps, of course. We know that. We know how you can do that, right? You can just hold most of the supply and have a high enough price. But this is kind of where they are. So at the moment, if they can get $1 billion, that would put them on a page 100, right? They put in the top 100 if they can get $1 billion. So that gives you an idea of where this potentially could go. But if we take down where they are at the moment, which they're just, but the prices moves around quite easily, right? We saw 25K move the price down fairly easy still. Then that would move them down here at around the 145 mark, 150 mark. That would push them in there. So let's say 140, 145. So that's kind of where they would be at the moment. But of course, this has the potential for becoming the first trillion market cap. So imagine getting to $1 billion, and then of course potentially even going 1,000x from there, right? So it's pretty massive gains there, and of course that would put them in the same ballpark as we said, with the Bitcoin, right? Because if we go back and have a look at Bitcoin, that would put them in this market cap, where the only one with a market cap of trillions is a Bitcoin, right? 2.1 trillion. So will Sol Sun Mini will be the next $1 trillion, basically like Bitcoin. It's definitely got the ability to do it. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that happen. It's still like the early days though. So just take that note. But man, we could have some big announcements here on the 3rd of June. One of those announcements could very much be one of the announcements will be, I believe, the Ramp Now. So Ramp Now at the moment is funneling all this money in, and you can actually see Ramp Now, right? So Ramp Now at the moment is ticking away there. Let me just see the account. That's the account there. So this is Ramp Now, right? So Ramp Now is continually buying, right? People are buying. And of course, there's a lot of small amounts because at the moment, the limit is kind of $1,000, right? $1,000. Oh, sorry, 1,000 euros. I think it is 1,000 euros or $1,000, one of those two. And of course, that limits the amount of big buys. But what they're going to be doing is they're going to be lifting probably here on the 3rd of June, lifting that to 10,000 euros. So that's a big difference, right? 10,000 euros. And of course, that's huge. Now, that may even potentially lift again in the future to maybe 50,000 per buy. So imagine those sort of buys coming in. It opens up a lot of players. Now, at the summit, we're going to hear they got a number of investment bankers going to be there. They've obviously got another number of billionaires also in the circle here that Wolfgang has been talking them to, and going on the yachts and all sorts of stuff. And they've got some very keen people in that space. So we could suddenly see a lot of re-rating of Sun Mini Meal. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but I think within months this could be highly re-rated very, very quickly. Now, the one thing that Wolfgang has said is that he doesn't want the price to overheat. He wants the price maybe 15 to 30 cents. So he doesn't really want it to overheat on the price. And I think that's game on there, right? If you pump it to $1, you've got all these people with these sort of kind of free coins. A lot of them have been buying Sun Mini Meal products, so they're all customers for the most part, as my understanding. So, and then they swap their points over. So that's all where we are now. We've got like 12,000 holders. So this is potentially pretty huge. And like I say, I don't think there's nothing even close to this on PulseChain. I mean, people can talk about PDI and talk about all sorts of stuff, wrap Bitcoin, all that sort of stuff. And it's going to be, that's cool. I think going to have a good time on PulseChain, particularly if Richard does some collateral backing in any sort of protocol, brings any sort of collateralized DeFi. But this is the one that's kind of here, and it's potentially could be ginormous, right? So I think this is probably, excluding some of those theories, this is really the standout. This is the standout here, and it's just got to buy your time, right? It's just got to buy time, because obviously there will be, with the fact that your people got free coins, essentially, you will see them, as the price goes through different waves, you will see those sellers come in because they're making mad gains, right? Even if they're in there. Now, they're also going to be on this day, we understand, not only will we see probably 10,000 euro increase in the individual buy thing, but that would bring on bigger players, but also that the customers will possibly have their wallet on their website for the first time, and that brings a hold to the new retail market as well. Yeah, they also will see all their coins and the value they're worth, and we might get a big dump fest as well, but it also is potentially adding a lot of new buyers as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, if you know what I mean. So got one big sell pump mental, and then we've got a whole ton of buy pump mental. So how is it all going to wash out in the market? Going to be pretty interesting to see that. But yeah, we could head, I think, pretty head to $1 billion market pretty quickly. Now, of course, if you haven't joined Strategy Club, you should probably join, because then I can talk to you about the future numbers, all the numbers for the future of the Sun Mini Meal, which I would argue is easily going to be the juggernaut on PulseChain. Now, you got to remember that if Richard Hart does a lot of his stuff about lifting Pulse and all this sort of stuff, well, this benefits Soil token as well, right? So it's X's on X's. So imagine that. So if you think you're going to get 100x on Richard core coins, and you think you're going to get 1,000x on Soil Sun Mini Meal, and that's a 10,000x, right? So you're pretty much pretty game on there. So pretty big numbers. All right. So yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I know that everyone is going to have some fun under the sun, which is all about Sun Mini Meal, right? That's pretty much it. It could be pretty massive. Let's say that much. It could be 100,000x, right? That's kind of where I was heading with that. 100,000x, and where are you going to find that, right? So where are you going to find that sort of stuff, right? Well, so apparently Sun Mini Meal could be that potential, right? So yeah, pick up any dips if you can, but once again, if you want to find out the future pump mentals, which are even more bullish, they sort of lay out the land of what I'm talking about there today. But I've got a bigger update on Sun Mini Meal, so keep a lookout for that. That is coming. We got some comments in the chat there. Property review, great show. I appreciate that property review. Big shout out to you. And we got Wells in the house there. Thanks for covering Neon. Love the project. Yeah, I think it's pretty special. I think really that glow is going to be quite a big, amazing addition to PulseChain. I'm looking forward to a lot of teams, utilizing that opportunity to put 10x leverage on many coins and many projects. I think it adds a lot of bullishness and potential price upside. We got Brian and House has joined Discord here. Yep. If you want to join the Strategy Club, you can hit that link and join up. It's only $35 a month. Very good value, I think, compared to some people who are charging thousands of dollars, and you're getting a lot less alpha, and you get a lot less alpha. We got Craig in house there. Morning all. Hey, Craig, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Brian says Sun Mini Meal for the win. Yeah. Hey, look, it's a healthy food, low calories. Man, it's crazy. You can actually get all your nutrients from the Sun Mini Meal for 800 calories a day. So just goes to show you that it's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. And yeah, they're about to bring their second manufacturing line online. And of course, I posted an image of that in Strategy Club. So if you haven't gone, you can join Strategy Club just to see the image. It's pretty cool. All right, so kind of cool. That is where we are there, and yeah, so we've got some cool stuff happening on PulseChain. Nexion, Sun Mini Meal, man, a lot of fun there in the house. All right, so let's get into some of the stuff here I want to talk about. Actually, before we do, I was going to do trading, and I want to do that, but let's talk about HexScout. HexScout, of course, has been working with on a ramp now, which has been brought on by Sun Mini Meal itself, and so here we got HexScout here giving us a lot of updates about the bridges and exactly what happens, right? So I thought it was kind of cool. So Ramp now receives your fiat payment. It then calculates the current exchange rate for your currency to USD, and they use bridged USDC from Ethereum to PulseChain to perform your request via swap. So what we are seeing, not just the on-ramp buying tokens, right, directly, like Hex and PulseChain, because they've, HexScout and Ramp now expanded the tokens from not just Sol token, from Sun Mini Meal, but also Pulse Hex and Signum token, things like that. And what it's doing is also bridging a lot of USDC to PulseChain. Isn't that awesome? That's the public good part of it, right? That's the thing that's amazing. So the resulting asset is transferred directly to your wallet. As demand grows, more USDC is bridged from Ethereum to PulseChain to facilitate swaps. So a lot of people may not have been aware of that, but that is of huge value to PulseChain. So bringing all this stablecoin from Ethereum over to PulseChain, brilliant move, right? Brilliant move. So it really is fantastic. This strengthens the bridge, enhances security, and of course injects fresh fiat directly into the market, maximizing price impact for the purchased asset. So absolutely huge, right? Absolutely huge. So really good stuff there, and fantastic. So I'm just going to say fantastic. Fantastic. Covered this on the live show, and go PulseChain. I know people don't use hashes so much, but I figured if everyone else is not using hashes, then I should use hashes. Right? Is that a good logic? If everyone else is not using hashes, even if I can't spell right, then maybe I use it instead. You remember X said, we're not using hashes so much, and I thought, well, if everyone else is not using it. Anyway, repeating myself, deja vu, Groundhog's Day. So that's pretty cool coming from HexScout. So really cool. All that capital stablecoin coming over to PulseChain is exciting, guys. It really is exciting. So bullish news there. All right, that gets us into the trading part of the show. So let's get into that and how we're doing for time. 57 minutes on the hour, so doing pretty well. Now, as you guys know, I wanted to bring in a little bit of stuff just to revise what we had previously done in a previous stream, right? So that's the key thing there. Now, as you can see here, I've got the PulseChain price. So we're at 3,835 on the price. We got 5.4 million liquidity and a market cap so-called of 291 million. Now, you can decide what the real market cap is, but that is what we've got here at the moment on the measures for Pulse. And this is the Pulse die pair, right, on a V1 pool. And yeah, we've got the chart there on the daily showing up. And you can see I've got a couple of support lines. I've got that blue line with the bottom in it. And then I've got the orange line with kind of recent resistance and support, right? That is kind of recent resistance and support. And that's, essentially at 4,200, if I remember rightly, 4,200. So that is very, very important. So yeah, that is kind of the mark there. Now, what we're going to be talking about is moving averages, like the EMA averages. If you recall, we did it in the last video. We're also going to be talking about, golden crosses and death crosses in terms of where the trend is your friend. We're also going to be talking about trends themselves, higher lows and higher highs. I'm going to talk about that. And yeah, those are some of the key things. We're going to talk about the RSI. It helps to tell you whether things are overbought or oversold. Very important if you're new to crypto to have you use your RSI at the very minimum. Even if you're not using moving averages, using the RSI will help you a lot, save you bacon. But you must have emotional control and good decision making. Nevertheless, you must still say, okay, well, it's overheated on the RSI, it's overbought. I'm not going to buy here. And if you think, but you might be saying, oh, this thing's going to go up again and again and again. And sometimes that does happen. Particularly that happens in under certain circumstances, or particularly in the bull when we're in the sort of the full bull on bull mode where we're getting, double-digit gains every single day for a week. That's a different time. We're not in that time frame at the moment. So typically that's not going to happen, right? So the RSI is very, very important to listen to. And even in that circumstances, you probably want to seriously take it seriously with the RSI. So very important that they take that into account. So we're going to do moving averages. Now I've been doing the 50 and the 200 day, which is kind of a long-term moving average. And you can change that long-term over weeks and days and months. The other one, of course, is we're going to bring in a short-term moving average, which I don't think we did last time, which we're going to use the 9 and the 34 moving average, the 9 periods and 34 periods. So the periods are different depending on whether you're doing weekly, daily, or 4 hourly. 4 hourly is typically like the trader's view. They use 4 hourly a lot. And you can get into smaller time frames like an hour, depending on what you're doing. But typically a day trader is going to be trading within a day. A swing trader could be within days or weeks. There's some of the language you might hear. And then, of course, investors take a long-term point of view, right? And it could be months, if not years, depending on your investor's point of view. So it's a couple of little terms of types of traders in the market. So we're going to have a check out of that at the moment. So let me just get back on here. And so we're going to add this on. So now actually I've already got this in. So typically you're going to go up to this little FX thing. That's kind of like a functions, and it's sort of indicators and strategies. You can click on that and you can type these in. So if we want moving averages, we can do that. So first of all, we're going to go for RSI first. So this is going to tell us whether something is overbought or oversold. And essentially tells you what the trend is in terms of more buying over selling or more selling over buying. Kind of the idea. So we're going to click on that. Now I already had one on there, so I'm going to get rid of that. But this is what it looks like, right? So it has the bottom line, which is 30, has a middle line, which is 50. It's kind of the middle, right? And then it has the top line, which is 70. And you know that if it's going up to the top line, that means the chart is probably overbought, right? So it's overbought. What do we see out of the chart here? It's overbought, right? So it gives you a bit of an idea of what's going on there. Now, when the chart comes down, we can see that it's kind of getting down to the oversold period around 30. You can also see that it starts to go up a bit. So there's a good chance that it will bounce off here, and off it goes up again. And of course, down it comes on the price. And the RSI comes down, it gets oversold, and therefore it suddenly gives a nice little rebound. And we see the price rallying up there. So it's kind of the idea. It gives you a kind of a band, as it were, a top and bottom band, telling whether something's overbought and oversold. So if this is the only measure you use, you're new to crypto, and you've seen guys that are new to crypto that come in and they buy the tops all the time. It happens to people that have been around a lot too, right? So it's not just new people. Then you've got to, using the RSI is very important. Why does it happen to people that have been around a long time? Well, either they're not using the RSI, or they don't control their emotions, right? And their perception that it's going to keep going is not realized, right? Because that only happens in exceptional circumstances, right? So when it sort of defies the RSI for a long period of time. So it's very important that you have emotional control and good decision making. And if you see the RSI up here, you got to say, "Wow, I better take profits," or you're going to be the guy that buys up here. And if you bought up here, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to sell off. And then once it sells off, do you think, "Oh, you're going to sell it"? Well, no. What happens is that you think it's going to recover, right? And so then it goes back up, right? So expecting it's going to come down a little bit and then go back up. But the RSI here is just gone all the way down. So you do have to use a bit of judgment. And of course, RSI is not your own measure that you want to use. That's why we use other measures like moving averages, other indicators. So you might want to have at least 3 or 4 indicators to help you make decisions. And you can make judgments about those, including volume, right? Not just price, but volume moves as well. So there are volume indicators, not just price ones. All right, so that's kind of the idea there. And you can see overbought. So this would actually help you a lot using this, as you can see. And it's probably the very minimum that you should have there. All right, so let's go into the next one we're going to have, which is the 50-day and the 200-day. I've already preloaded these, right? But let's go to the EMA. So you're going to have an EMA here. And all you have to do is click moving average exponential, right? So, and typically the exponential part, as opposed to a simple moving average, really just weights the most recent periods. So it gives more weighting to the most recent time periods than the previous ones, right? As opposed to simple, it's more like an average. So that's why it's a moving exponential average there. Now I've already got them preloaded, so we're going to add those in and so on. So this is the 50 and the 200, and I have my own color coding. You can have your own color coding. I like to have short term kind of slightly brighter, and then the longer term slightly duller. But both of them are bright. It's orange and yellow. And so here at the moment we've got these moving averages. These are long term, right? So this is, I've got this on the daily, right? You can use it on the weekly and the monthly and the 4 hour. You can different time frames, and of course you compare different time frames to another as well. So if there's a daily time frame, you want to know, is the daily going to still keep bullish, or go back and have a look at the 4 hourly, right, and see what that's looking like from an average point of view, and from the RSI, right? See whether there's more gas in the engine, kind of thing. And that's a good way of judging. Now, as you can see, we've got a nice little move up here. We've got a nice little move from the 50-day. Now, remember when the 50-day here, so see that the 50 days in yellow, when it crosses, in this case, it crossed very late. So you got to use other indicators as well, right? So you can't just use moving averages, but because you'd already be way down here, right? But it's definitely useful to use this with other measures. And you can see that we had a death cross happen here on the 23rd of April, 24 on PulseChain on the daily, and then down it went. And look at the chart, just absolute brutal down to the downside, right? Obviously, PulseChain has suffered from having the SEC cast a dark shadow or cloud over it, and of course also we've had a lot of black swan events. There's been numerous of those, and what I call grey swan events, kind of events we kind of knew it would happen, and kind of thought they may not, and they happen, kind of thing. So that's kind of where we are. And of course, then we have ended up having had a short little golden cross here on the 25th of November, had a nice little rally. And of course, that's already about halfway through that rally, or even more, maybe 60% through the rally, time we get the golden cross confirmation. Then it got smashed down, right? More black swan events and other things like that. And down we came. So, PulseChain has suffered a lot of those kind of events. And so that's why we're looking forward to hopefully a more bullish future. And with a lot of those out of the way, now that we've been defeated the SEC, it's, hopefully clear skies, right? Clear skies rather than cloudy, dark skies. So this is kind of where we are at the moment. We see the 50-day moving up, very positive sign. And of course, we got that blue line I put down there as the bottom, right? The bottom there down at 40,1600. And here we are back on the move here. Now, this is the Pulse versus DAI price. Let's take that into account. So, the other one you can look at is Pulse versus ETH, for example. See how it's performing relative to the ETH chain. And, so we're moving back up here. And look, we're getting pretty close. It feels like we're getting pretty close to a golden cross. But what do we see here at the moment? So let's get rid of the moving averages so we can, break this down. So without even the moving averages, let me hide those. You can go and click the little I button and it will hide. Put a little button there. And of course, that will hide it. And that is, what do we see in this chart? Well, let's do little measures here. Let me see if I can zoom on this a bit. I'm going to go to the bigger screen. So let me jump over there.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle.
Let me hide that. So this is the bigger screen, and let's go full mode on this. Let's go full mode so you can see in detail. Make sure that the screen's showing up. And I haven't got this auto logged either, so let's see if that works. So that's the chart there, and I just want to get rid of some of this stuff here. So that's the bottom there, right? So we got the bottom in blue. We got this orange line, right? The orange line was a lot of support here when the price was up. And then, of course, we've found that once we've come back up to it, we've got a lot of resistance here. So this is kind of a good guide, right? It's not a good guide that we're facing a lot of resistance. And resistance is at 4,200, right? So we had support at 4,200. And we had a couple of wicks down to this level, right? You can see the wicks there as well. And then we've had, we got a rejection. We actually got over it, and that was kind of exciting. But we needed to retest the 42 and then move back up. But we didn't do that, right? So just not quite there yet in the market. And down we came, right? Down we came. So we're currently at quadruple 3,800, and we do have because we've got thinner liquidity on the pool. That means that if we get particular large players making big moves, that also impacts the chart as well. Whether it's James Maria or whether it's Mr. Dong or whoever it's going to be. Whether it's Mr. 555. All sorts of players can influence the chart as well on specific days and impact the trend line too. So there's a little bit of that going on. But here we are down at 3,800. And of course, the market's down a bit as well with the old, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or particularly Bitcoin, I should say, even though Ethereum is actually up slightly, but the market's down a little bit. And here we are, quadruple 3,800. And so, we're just trying to get back over this 42. But once I think this is actually a pretty healthy little consolidation area here at the moment. So I think that's kind of neat to see that, because what have we got in the chart? So let's put that in the chart. And we can see that we've got higher lows, right? So that's our first higher low. And then we've got higher highs. So we had a nice higher high here. Now, I'm going to ignore that little peak there, but it's still relevant, right? So I've got higher highs here as well. And then we came back down. So we've got higher lows. and we're getting back in an uptrend, right? You get higher lows and higher highs, you're getting an uptrend, right? Rather than a downtrend where it's all going lower lows and lower highs. We've actually got the uptrend in place, which is kind of cool, right? But then we've hit this wall, right? This is kind of like a wall. We've hit this wall, and we've got to get over that wall. And then once we get through that wall, man, it's like a pent-up demand, right? It's got pent-up demand and then smash. But, it's not inevitable that we'll quite get there in normal circumstances. However, I really feel like, with the Trump strategy playing out, that, by the 4th of July, we could, in this period here, what do we say, 36 days or so, we could really see some action. And so I'm very, very confident that we will actually be able to get back up over this 42 and then move to a re-rate, right? And the re-rate could go up to 38, right? So if we add up to this horizontal, we could have up to 38 here, right? So this is one approach to trying to work out where we're going, right? Is horizontal values that we've previously seen. But there are other approaches to try and work out where the price might go. That might be using a different tool like a Fibonacci extension. And of course, we talked about the tools being over here. And so I haven't gone through that yet, but we've got a trend-based Fibonacci over here. That's another approach to try and to work out value. And we'll talk about it in another video. We'd obviously talked about Fibonacci retracement the other day. We'll talk about that too. But I really want to focus on the RSI and horizontals and uptrends and the moving averages in this one. So this is kind of where we are at the moment. So the key question is can we get a bit of support here? Will this be the higher low, I should say? We already had one back here. Will this be another one? Will we consolidate in here nicely and then finally break that 42 and then move up and then get re-rated? Maybe move to 59. Definitely doable. Now this excludes God mode candles, right? So this is just market action. So you can just sort of see in here, this is just market action, not any particular, God mode candle, something closer to akin to something like this, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about. So when we had all this money coming in back here in January 24, really talking about this happening. But of course, we've heard Richard Hart talk about it, recently about God mode candles. So that's kind of the play. So everything's looking pretty positive, and that's why I said to you, if you take account the chart structure at the moment, if you take into account the new bridges that are basically bridging and directly buying tokens from Europe and places like that, it's going to only expand globally. It's really exciting. We're kind of already in this pre-bull run, in my view, and of course the magic hasn't happened yet quite, but we've got this. Everything is heading in the one direction, right? Which is pretty cool. And I'm not talking about the band, I'm talking about the chart. So that's going to be pretty exciting to see where that goes. So we got Trump strategy. Everything is lining. All the stars are lining. Doesn't mean we're not going to have little hiccups here and there, it's just the way it goes. But I think that ultimately we're looking very, very nicely here, set up, before the 4th of July for some nice action. Hopefully in that period of time, then this next 36 days with all that bullishness that we're going to break this and re-rate on the chain. And then, we might get, if we were to do a re-rate, we get to 5,800, we might start seeing a God mode candle come into play. That may occur when we get interest rate cuts or something like that. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, the Fed's still playing games around tariffs and volatility, but probably should have reduced the interest rates already to 3.5%. So I really do think that they are playing silly games, keeping the rate at 4.5. They could still say tariffs at 3.5%, right? That's still valid. They could say, we're a bit uncertain about valid. But now they're talking about, we're going to have, are we focused on inflation or are focused on supporting business activity, right? Well, I think business activity is probably the main thing they should be doing because, they always get it wrong. They were late to do interest rate rises and then they were hyper aggressive, the record aggressiveness on interest rate rises. And then they've been, they were kind of okay. They're probably a bit late on the interest rate cuts. And now they're just playing around at 4.5. I mean, other central banks have already reduced their interest rates, and they're mucking around because they're using the tariff thing. But actually, Trump's already shown that he's lowering a lot of food prices and a lot of oil prices, and that interest rates need to fall as well, and that would help the economy. Now, the only reason why it works under a Trump economy, not only because he's reorganizing everything, but because he's doing supply side economics, right? And of course, this is the key, right? If you're going to want to stimulate demand, you've got to have more supply, and that's what Trump's doing. He's reorganizing the supply chains and also the expanding supply production and trying to do it as fast as he can. So this is a secret sauce. So this is also, counter to what we see from liberal and progressive economists who are basically, like I said, I've said this previously, wrecked everything. And so Trump's, going to do his best to bring the golden age in America and fix up the common sense stuff. I used to pull my hair out watching this stuff on screen, hearing these guys talk, about managed decline of the United States and the rise of China. And I was like, none of that's inevitable. What are these guys talking about? Are they smoking the weed or what? no against the weed Smiths, but you get my point. It's just like, man, it's just common sense. You can just open up your supply, increase your productivity, blah, blah, blah. But, we've been hamstrung by a lot of crazy ideologies. So, and that means that when if you get hamstrung by crazy ideologies, that means other people that haven't got those crazy ideologies, and particularly if they're authoritarian, can take over the world. And that's the problem, right? So it's a good thing that Trump has come in at the right time. Now, interesting on Trump is that we saw a poll come out from Rasmussen, I think it was yesterday, and Trump's poll numbers at all-time high. And that's pretty interesting. And guess who the demographics, particularly men, of course, have come in and big supporters. They like what they see. Because why? The America's going to be safer. It's safer. It's going to be more prosperous. It's going to be more free ultimately. And so, yeah, it's what we want, right? What we want to have a good time. And that will flow into positivity for crypto and stock market, right? So in commodities as well. So it's going to be pretty golden era of America. And I think the big thing, of course, you're going to see more buildings, more construction than you've ever seen in your life under the Trump years. And that's already started. So if you go to certain places, they've already started building massive plants and clearing massive lands for new AI building machines and stuff like that. So yeah, we might actually. So it's going to be golden right now, but maybe in decades in time, it's going to be like the Terminator movie. I don't know, but who knows? But at the moment, it's going to be golden. So kind of fun. All right, so that is it on that. So what have I done? I've told you about the higher lows, the uptrends, which is kind of cool. And of course, you can kind of draw those, right? You can kind of draw these trend lines and pull all that together. So it's kind of cool. You can show that we're kind of in some sort of uptrend there, right? So that's kind of cool. And so we're all moving up into the right direction. We're facing some resistance at 4,200. We're really keen to get over that. We have got thinner liquidity pools, which means you can go up and down a lot easier, right? Ever since the incentive token was yield was slashed 20x or so. So it is pretty exciting, heading in one direction. So that is that. And of course, if we add in our 50-day and our 200-day moving averages, we can see that the 50-day action with this uptrend is starting to converge to the orange, and that we could very well, fingers crossed, and of course we've got the right conditions ahead of us. It's that we could get this golden cross as well, and that would be pretty glorious. Now, presumably it's not going to be a short one like this, and presumably it's going to be hopefully a pretty long one, better than any structure probably that we've seen in the PulseChain chart here. I'm not expecting to see too much of this sort of short periods. Like, for example, this golden cross, this played out, let's see, this golden cross essentially played out for about 65 days or 2 months. Now, hopefully we're going to see something longer, 4 to 6 months, maybe something like that. And maybe even longer than that, maybe 9 months, where we see a big mega uptrend on PulseChain once and for all. Because we haven't got the SEC over us now, the grey skies have gone, the light is coming. Now, what are some of the other fundamentals coming up for this trend, of course? So I'm matching TA now with fundamentals. But that is, Rack and Michelle getting out doing press releases, getting out talking to rich people out there. We've got Firewell, another whale doing big stuff out there. We've got Sun Minimum, the big corporate in Europe, now opening up investment banks and all sorts of stuff to come over to PulseChain via Solar token. And of course, we've got a lot of retail opening up in Europe, coming in to buy directly onto PulseChain through Ramp Now, HexScout, Banksa, and I think Fluon is coming, something like that. I can't understand the German, but Fluon is coming. And we've got another 2 on ramps coming to PulseChain. So it's really getting exciting. Where we're heading here, and we've got lots of innovation happening on PulseChain here. A lot of cool teams like OG Web Chef, like Nexion, like Emmett Farms from Kairos. They're doing lots of innovative things. There's lots of teams doing a lot of innovative stuff, and so it's a very exciting place to be. Obviously, we've got Jacob doing decentralized casinos, Mafia game, and of course my big favorite, the flagship PUSD ALGO. We've got Signum and Tetra imminently launched, so we're expecting an update this weekend for those. So that's more cool stuff. We've got so much good stuff coming, and it's just going to build a great foundation. Very, very cool. A lot of the problems that we have are being solved, and it's a lot of the money that we need to come is starting to come. So problems are being solved, money is coming, and hopefully we'll have this big mega uptrend on PulseChain once and for all, and we'll see a long, big golden cross and game on from there. And it could very well be starting within weeks. And that's why I kind of say, we're already kind of in the bull market. with this and with some of the fundamentals things happening around some of these on-ramps coming onto PulseChain right now, and with the SEC Gomberger, it is exciting times ahead. Now, that is going to be pretty exciting. So those are the 50s. Now, we're going to quickly go to the other moving averages, which is short term. We shouldn't really discuss this last time. We've got a 34 and a 9. And that gives us like kind of a small time frame. Now, remember that you can swap the times at the top here to different time frames to, see how they're going. You can swap between different time frames. Now, obviously, you're going to have to refix the chart to make it look good, but you can come down to auto here. You can also come down to the little peg here and make sure the auto fits if you haven't done it already. So that's kind of cool. And so here we are with the shorter time frames, and we can see there we've got 9 days and 34 days. So it's like 9 days or just over a week and a half, versus 34 days, so just over a month, so almost 5 weeks, 4.5 weeks. And we can see that we've got a little bit more information by using shorter moving averages. We can see here we've got a little golden cross on this little daily moving average with the shorter time frame. So we're using shorter averages basically, right? With the 9 and the 34 rather than the 50 and the 200, which is quite a long term. And you can see, a little dip here, and then we're in a little golden move here as we're moving up, right, to higher highs and higher lows. We're moving up, right? So I just realized that we're going to put the high there. So that was one there, right? We've got a high. And we're slowly moving up here. Now it is turning a bit, so we are getting a bit of a turn. So how big is that going to be? Are we going to get another one of these? Or are we going to get this just faking out and then maybe continue to go up, which is hopefully what we're going to get, right? We want to get that. We don't want that crossing down. We definitely want that to go up. Now, I've got this here. That's kind of where we are at the moment on the price. But, the other place that we might hit is this one here, which is, this level here, which is also where the 34-day average as well, the orange line. That's the longer one, right? So we might come down a bit further, but hopefully we're going to avoid some sort of full-on death cross, and it will actually just be a little bit of a short-term blip, just like kind of like this, but not as aggressive. I don't think it's going to be as aggressive as this, and we're going to have a smaller one here because news is so much more positive now, and we've got all this capital coming onto the chain. That we get just a little bit of a move here and then back up for the next wave higher. And like I say, once we break this 42, it's really game on, and we could re-rate all the way up to 5,900 or 5,800. So it could be pretty cool. It's kind of the play on those. So this moving average is really helpful. And of course, we can add back in the RSI as well on this time frame, since we got, we're still doing daily, but we got the time frame there is also helpful. We're coming back to the 50. So on the RSI, you can also see, just like in charts where we have these uptrends, we have these kind of characteristics, we also get that in the RSI, right? So we can have what they call, a bullish divergence, bearish divergence, all that sort of stuff in the chart. So you can actually use uptrends here. You can actually see on the RSI, we've got a higher low, and then we've got another one, right? So let's use the same idea over here. And then, of course, that when you come to 50, that could be really cool. And maybe we've got if we come back here, let me get out of there. We've got an uptrend there, right? So uptrend in the RSI. So that's kind of cool too. So we're going to bounce off where we are now and then go back up for another test, and then finally break that 42, and that's game on, right? That's kind of game on there. And we come back here. Maybe it's going to be around here, and maybe we break that to the upside there, and that's where we go, right? That could be pretty exciting. And bam, we'll make that green, shall we? Do a green chart. So that could be what we see, and I think that's a very probable outcome, actually. So it's kind of fun. So that's where we are on that. Now, obviously, you can also do it on different time frames. So you can do 4 hour, which is if you want to see what the day is going to be like, and if you're doing immediate trade within the day, that could be really useful doing a 4 hourly. It's a sort of a different approach, sort of a day trader, right? But if you're also looking at another chart with PulseX, which is versus Pulse, right? How is PulseX doing versus Pulse? And of course, we can see that it's actually doing incredibly well, right? We have a mega uptrend here with a Pulse X versus Pulse. So not Pulse versus DAI, not a US dollar price, but Pulse X versus Pulse. And of course, everything else is versus Pulse, right? Pulse here is the ocean, right? There's the ocean on PulseChain. And of course, everything else is a ship. It's a big ship on PulseChain. And sometimes maybe Sun Minimal is going to be bigger than the ocean at one stage. Who knows? But that is where we are at the moment. 91 cents. Sorry, not 91 cents. 0.91 on the ratio. This line up here is a 1-to-1. So that's where Pulse and PulseX are 1-to-1 to each other. and that could be the price pretty similar. So at the moment, we've got the price at 4 zeros 3,500. And of course, look at the price over here on Pulse is 4 zeros 3,800. So it is getting crazy. And yeah, we could get there. We have been there before, got back there on the 20th. This is on the weekly time frame, by the way. This was the daily. I've got this on a weekly time frame. And look at where we are at the moment. Woohoo, just to see this mega uptrend. So it's always good to use weeklies and monthlies as well. Use that longer term view. And of course, monthly is very cool. A lot of people you'll see use monthly to show real long term trends. And you can see it looks pretty amazing, right? This is the ratio to Pulse for PulseX. So if you'd been in PulseX at the bottom, you'd be very happy right now because you'd be up pretty massive, right? You'd be up pretty massive. Let's see if the calculator works on here. Yeah, I mean, you'd be up, pretty nicely to 3.7x versus PulseX. Versus Pulse. You'd be up. So pretty mad gains. So not bad there. And yeah, I don't see this unabating, right? Because as we get into a bull market, what are we going to see? We're going to see PulseX get more valued than the chain because it's doing all the volume, right? It's also got the big buy and burn on it, right, as well, and inflation's been cut 20x. So it could be pretty huge. And then on addition to that, what happens if the Master Chef contract gets called? And of course, that goes to the incentive tokens part of the DAO. PulseX and incentive token dual token system that could be super bullish. And of course, we get single side staking. If we get third party protocols that end up using, in a big way, PulseX and incentive token, that's also another layer of pumpamentals, as well as, of course, capital coming into PulseChain and pumping PulseChain. The ocean gets bigger, right? And all the ships get bigger. It's kind of a stupid analogy, but everything goes up, right? It's kind of the big play. So pretty exciting stuff there. So that's kind of some of the stuff there around the charts there. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. And we're in pretty important times. And as I've always played on one of those videos, it's pretty exciting where we're going from here. Now we're at 26 minutes. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. If you love the content, don't forget to share YouTube channel around, tell people about it, get subscribers, and of course, share on X. Hit this follow button as well. Leave comments, smash the likes. You guys can make a big deal on the algorithms. Of course, if we're talking about a lot of good stuff that you love, that's only in your best interest. You don't have to do anything else. So that's pretty cool. What else? We've got a couple of comments in the chat as well. Good stuff, boss, from Brian. I have never ever bought the top of anything. Says Brian. We've got TJ in the house there. Good to see you, TJ. Big shout out to you. Was it Cyberpunk 2077 is tremendous, says TJ. Full screen mode rocks. I think you're talking about some Cyberpunks, is it? 2077. What else there? We got Frank White in the house there. Bang Bang Pulse Gang. A big shout out, Pulse Frank White. And if you guys haven't checked out Function Island, definitely check that out. Frank White's involved over in Function Island, and man, they're doing great over there too. Big shout out to that community. And of course, Donnie D, the big mad crazy dev out there as well, doing some awesome stuff. Next level. That Brian says, "Let's go T-Dog Trump," says Brian. And Henry's in the house as well. Teddy Bear, yeah, we did cover Teddy Bear OG. So James Maria on the move there, definitely doing some cool stuff for sure. Good show, boss, says Brian. I appreciate that. Thanks very much. I will catch you guys again. Don't forget, if you want to join Strategy Club, links in the video description. Got our monthly report coming out this weekend, as well as a special update chat where we're going to be looking at the future value of Sun Mini Mill and other projects as well. So don't want to miss that. That is going to be coming up in Strategy Club on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern, which is midday. No, not midday. It's what time is that now? It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Kiwi time, or midday Australia time. And there we go. Join up to Strategy Club today. Only $35 a month. Fantastic value for major alpha. And we're going to have fun during the bull market, I think. All right, take care, everybody. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now. Peace out.